Hey, brother.
Good evening.
Evening, man. Um, Excited to continue this beautiful journey of the 40 rules of love. This will be part three and possibly the last part. We'll see how we
I'm,
go.
I'm thinking so.
Yeah, we'll see how we go, man. And so, for those of you that are just joining us on part three, I encourage you to go back to part one and start there. But if you don't want to, then just join us for part three, man. Either way, it's going to be some epic wisdom. So we are on rule number 27. Whatever you speak, good or evil, will somehow come back to you. Therefore, if there is someone who harbors ill thoughts about you, saying similarly bad things about him will only make matters worse. You will be locked in a vicious circle of malicious, malevolent energy, not malicious, malevolent energy. Instead, for 40 days and nights, say and think nice things about that person. Everything will be different at the end of 40 days because you will be different inside. Sweet. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot, man. I mean, what comes up for me is the law of attraction. The energy we put out is the energy we will receive back. This is something that, I mean, is very true for me in my life. It's not even a belief, it's just my reality. I think of it kind of like we have the void or the universe or whatever you want to think about, and everything is energy. With our sense organs, we get to see what we perceive to be solid things, but those solid things are actually vibrating. They're actually energy. And so the way I think about it is kind of like a radio station, right? If you go into your car and you turn it on to 99.3, you can't hear what is being broadcast on 104.1, right? And that's what I think about with our energy. If we are in the energy of, let's just say, hate, then we are not able to receive what is on the frequency of love in that moment, right? And so the world will seem very hateful to us. We will start to attract certain experiences that are much more hateful. And even if we don't, we will perceive other experiences to be hateful. A perfect example of this is like, man, it's interesting how, I can be very loving towards people, but like some people cannot receive that love based on the frequency that they're in, right?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's what comes up for me. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I echo a lot of those same feelings and thoughts. I think what comes up for me is they said if someone harbors ill thoughts about you, saying similar things back, bad things about them, will only make matters worse. And I fully believe that. It's like, the whole where are you coming from? What's your intention? Like, can you consistently come from a place of love and not just match someone's, bad energy, bad frequency, like you were saying? Um, and it kind of also brings me back to what we've said many times is like, everyone's doing the best they can with the awareness that they have. Um, so yeah, if you're in an experience where someone says something bad about you, or the easiest example that we come back to is cuts you off in traffic or whatever, just like try to come from a place of love and understanding, and you never know what people are going through, and I choose to believe that they're doing their best.
Yeah, agreed. A question that comes up for me that people may have listening to this that are like, why and how, right? Like, why should I love someone that is being so rude and mean towards me or the world? And how do I love someone that is being so mean towards me and the world? The way I would answer that is why. I mean, what's your other option, dude? Your other option is be resentful, be hateful, be them, pretty much. Um, and that's a really interesting road to take, seeing as though you don't enjoy the way they're presenting themselves. You're just going to be them. So that doesn't really make sense. So why? It's a pretty good reason why. Another good reason why is like it actually feels better to love them. Feels like much better to love them. I mean, I could go on and on. Really, there's so many reasons, but I think those two should be enough. How? Something that really helps me. I mean, Dan said a beautiful thing, right? It's like you have no idea what they're going through, number one. Number two, like they're doing the best they can with the awareness they have in that moment and knowing you are too, and you aren't always, let's just say, presenting yourself in an aligned, loving fashion. Have some grace, have some compassion. Um, another thing that comes up for me is how, some questions that I ask myself that really help me is like, man, what must this person be believing in this moment in order to express themselves in this way? And I start to feel into some of those thoughts that they must be thinking or beliefs they must be having. And I'm like, dude, that's crazy, man. Like, so much compassion, so much grace for you, man. Are you okay? I love you. I'm here for you. Even if they can't handle that in that moment, right? Anything you want to add to that why or how?
No, I like it. I like what you said about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Rule 28, dude.
28. The past is an interpretation. The future is an illusion. The world does not move through time as if it were a straight line proceeding from the past to the future. Instead, time moves through and within us in endless spirals. Eternity does not mean infinite time, but simply timelessness. If you want to experience eternal illumination, put the past and the future out of your mind and remain within the present moment. I mean, first thing that pops into my mind is obviously the power of now, which we've shouted out a bunch of times, which we haven't done an episode on actually. I don't think so.
I think we
Uh,
did we not?
do we do?
I think it was the first book we did.
The first book was Power of Now. Okay, yeah, we
Pretty
did then.
sure. Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Done a few now, so
Yeah, we
uh,
have. We have.
but yeah, I mean, I think it's such a beautiful lesson. That I mean, it's kind of almost cliche at this point, but like the only thing that exists is the present moment, and everything else is kind of not serving. Well, I mean, sometimes planning could be serving, but it is an illusion. The future is an illusion. Like you're not guaranteed anything. Um, and when you can feel into that, then it's pretty cool. And that's kind of, when you can get hobbies and activities that you like to do, that kind of force you to be in the present moment. I think that's super beneficial and something that I strive to, or I look for.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's super cool ways to think about it. So it's like, I mean, I think, most people think about time as if like there is a past and there is a future and we're just kind of here in the middle, like in the present doing our thing, and that like the rest of it's real, but it's actually not. Like it's not. And I think it's really important for people to really grasp and understand this reality. Like we aren't in the middle here. There is no middle because there is no past and there is no future, right? Um, and so yes, we do have memories, but they are memories. They aren't reality. They're just memories. And we can think about possible futures, but again, this is all in our mind. It is not in reality, right? And so it's really important to understand that we aren't here and there is no gap anywhere. Super important. And then once we understand that we are here, which is what Shams is talking about on Rule 28, I mean, the biggest thing that comes up for me, right, is like, if that is the case, then what is there in the present? Well, there is you here in this moment being completely present and aware about what is coming up and what is happening and your observations. Because ultimately, the only way that something that has already happened can continue to bother you in this moment is if you bring it into this moment. Because it's already the past, which means it's already not reality anymore, right? And so it's a super interesting thing to think about, right? Like, is like you stub your toe, like even when it comes to physical things, right? Like you stub your toe, like your toe has been stubbed. Anything past that is you bringing it into the next moment. Same thing with an argument or whatever it is, right? And so it's really important. Like it allows us to take full responsibility, I feel, because like it's not reality anymore, dude. Like it happened already. It was reality, but it's not anymore. And so it's up to us to realize that and be able to bring ourselves back to this present moment. Dan, you brought up something like, how, like when you were talking, what came up for me was the question is, okay, then how is the past and how is the future serving, right? Like why would we dig into our memories and why would we um, think about our illusions, right? Or our assumptions, let's say, of the future. what comes up for me is like reflection is really cool for me, like the past, like reflecting on the past in order to learn lessons, in order to feel into past things that were either really beautiful or really sad. I think memories are great, right? Memories are really beautiful things that we can hold, and our mind seems to hold the ones that are most important. That's why like some things it just kind of lets go of. I personally feel that the memories that are linked to very like deep emotions, whether they're like really high bliss or like really, I don't want to say low because it doesn't really low, but whether it's like sadness or grief or whatever it is, we tend to hold on to those ones, and I think they're beautiful to have. Saying that, it's not serving to go back into those if it is no longer like there's nothing there for you, right? So, for example, right, like if I experienced something in the morning that did not feel good and in no way has any lesson or anything for me, but I continue to bring that up throughout the rest of the day. Like, oh my God, I can't believe what happened to me in the morning, dude. That thing was crazy. So stupid. That person was, and just like does not serve you in any way possible. Future, how is that serving? What I have found is the most serving thing about future isn't actually the future, because again, there is no future, but it is feeling in this present moment the beautiful things that I desire to create, right? And by doing that, going back to Rule 27, we can actually attract those things into this present moment. Again, it's not the future. You will attract it into this moment, right? And so that's what I've found them to be like really serving. I know a lot of people out there really like to plan and stuff like that. I'm not a huge planner. Um, the only time I find myself, I don't really find myself planning much. I would say maybe when I go hunting in like when I go into like the mountains and stuff like that, I'll like plan like what I have to pack and stuff like that, my meals and stuff like that for sure. But I do my best to like, unless it's something like that, like very practical, like, hey, dude, I'm going into the mountains for 7 days. I need to survive. This is what I'm taking. Other than that, I really enjoy like not planning. I really enjoy just like kind of following intuition, stepping into the next moment and kind of seeing what it brings. But yeah, dude, do you have any other things that like you feel like you find the past serving for, or the future, like not the future, but you know what I mean, serving for, like thinking about the future?
I think, well, I just think not to necessarily answer that question, but like when you were talking, it kind of brought up feelings of, the past. It's so interesting how memory works, like for us, for humans. And I mean, Dispenza has a stat, but who honestly knows like what percentage of our memories are actually real? And like two people can, I mean, it happens all the time. I mean, every single person on this planet has experienced this where they have an experience with somebody where two people have the same exact experience and they remember it completely differently. And so it's so interesting. Like, and I didn't even remember that we did a episode on the power of now. It's like so. So I mean, how much can you trust that? And so, like you said, when it comes to memory, is like, is it serving? Like, does this memory bring you joy? And if not, or bring you good feelings? If it's bringing you bad feelings, like it might not even be true at all. So why are you like going back and back, like, oh, and I still do it too. Like, I'm not saying I don't do that, but it's just so interesting to me to think about like how memories work and how we kind of really self sabotage in a lot of ways just by focusing on all the bad parts of our memories. And I do my best to make a conscious effort not to do that, but
Yeah.
it still happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like for this human experience that we're having, like, as you're talking, what comes up for me is like the memory of people that have passed
Mhm.
is like, I think that's like a really strong one, right? Is like, these are memories that they're the only thing that make this person real anymore.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, but it's also like a very strong reality of the fact that like, all right, like, but obviously it's not real. Like he's not, like they're not here anymore, right? In the physical. But it's so cool because memories, your body doesn't know the difference. Like you can feel into that memory and you can see their face and you can feel their touch and you can smell their smell and all this stuff, dude. And it's just such a beautiful like representation of like, even though that is no longer real, it is the past, we can actually bring that into this present moment and make it very, very real in a way, to the point where our body doesn't know the difference. And so we need to be very aware of what we're doing with our memories, right? Because, let's talk about like depression for a second. Depression isn't a disease. Depression isn't this thing that you're born with. Depression isn't this thing that you catch. Depression is exactly what we're talking about right now. Depression is going into your past thoughts and continuously bringing them into this present moment to a place where they change your frequency on a consistent basis. And maybe, if done consistently enough, change the chemistry within your brain. Because again, that's what thoughts are doing. And I think it's important to understand that like you can change this. If you are depressed, this is something you can change because you created it, right? With your thoughts. Thoughts release chemicals. Chemicals are emotions, so on and so forth, right? And so if we're dosing ourselves again and again by bringing up the past with chemicals that don't feel good, that is depression. And so we need to be very aware of what we're doing. We can do the same thing with the future. That's anxiety. Worrying about the future. That's anxiety, right? And so, this is something that I think is spoken about a lot today, as if, oh, I have depression or I have anxiety, as if it's this thing that you just caught like a cold, and you have no control over. And I'm here to express and share with you that you have a lot of control of it. You're the only person that actually has control of it. And so I invite you to take your power back and start to, follow that journey and see where it takes you, knowing that you can uncreate it just like you created it. You can create a new future. So yeah, thoughts are powerful.
Yeah. Some people might have issues with that, unfortunately, but I fully agree with everything you said.
Yeah, that's fine. Issues are great. I encourage you to, if you are hearing this and you do have issues with what I'm saying, cool, man. I would encourage you to like not dismiss it, but start to explore it, right? Rather than just be like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like for a moment, or maybe like a few moments, open your mind up to the fact, maybe, what if I do though? And what if I do? And what if that voice that says he doesn't know what he's talking about is the exact same voice that's creating depression and creating your anxiety? Yeah, I don't know. Open your mind to it. See what happens. If not, cool, man. Next.
29.
29. Destiny doesn't mean that your life has been strictly predetermined. Therefore, to live everything to live everything, to leave everything. Let me change that. I must have put that in wrong. To leave everything. Cool. 29. Destiny doesn't mean that your life has been strictly predetermined. Therefore, to leave everything to the fate and to not actively contribute to the music of the universe is a sign of sheer ignorance. The music of the universe is all pervading, and it is composed on 40 different levels. Your destiny is the level where you play your tune. You might not change your instrument, but how well to play is entirely in your hands. All right.
Yeah, I love the analogies.
I know, dude. And the fact that like on 40 different levels, Biggs,
Yeah.
how do you know the levels, man?
Yeah,
Like, tell
40.
me the 40 levels, dude. What is going on, man? Maybe it's because of the 40 rules of love that it's 40
Maybe.
different levels with your destiny. Yeah, for sure. What comes up for you, man, when you hear that?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of what you said earlier about the law of attraction and vibrating on frequencies, and what the idea that you are in control of your own destiny and you create your own reality, and to really be able to feel into that. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that kind of contradicts itself too. It's like, we talked about earlier in the last episode of the one before, where, just trust in the universe. And, with I think I said earlier, like I choose to believe that I'm always where I'm supposed to be, and that, the universe has my back. But at the same time, like I do have a say in that, and I can, and that's what's cool about life is you can kind of play around with it and figure out what you like and don't like, and bring more of that into your life. And I think that's hard for a lot of people to feel into. Like, well, I have this job and I have this, and this is what I really love, but I don't have time. Um, but it's in your that's completely in your own mind that you're creating those limitations upon yourself. Like you can do whatever you want, as an adult human being on this planet. You can do whatever you want. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big discussion a lot of people have, right? Like, do you have free will or is everything kind of predetermined, right? I'm not here to give you an answer as if like I know the truth, but from my experience, kind of seems like I have choices, you know? It seems like I have choices. And so, I've one thing I can say that I've realized in my reality is like when I am in faith, when I am in trust, when I am in love and I am operating from that space, man, it seems as though destiny or whatever you want to call it is operating very differently to when I am in a space of frustration or anger or whatever it is. And again, I'm not saying that's bad, but I just notice my reality is completely different. And my destiny, if all of it is destiny and I'm destined to experience those things, they're very different. I have definitely realized based off my actions, they lead to different actions in future present moments. Definitely realize that. One of the things that comes up as soon as I express that is like when I would meditate in the mornings and remind myself of the things that I wanted to bring into my awareness, the feelings, the programs I wanted to change. Man, I definitely had the experience of being more aware of those things, and so it seems as though like I had a say in that. It seems as though I had
Mm.
some control over that, right? I had a choice in that, and so yeah, I really enjoy what he's sharing. I mean, what comes up for me when I just read his words is like action, right? Like
Mm.
act, dude. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you can just sit there and do nothing and you will have an experience and it'll be your life and you can say it was your destiny. But you could also get up and start walking around and experience that and that would also you could say is your destiny. Right? And so no matter what happens, you can say at the end of it, that was my destiny. But ultimately I think you have a choice of whether you stand up or whether you sit down kind of thing. So
Agreed.
yeah.
Number 30.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. The true Sufi is such that even when he is unjustly accused, attacked, and condemned from all sides, he patiently endures, uttering not a single bad word about any of his critics. A Sufi never apportions blame. How can there be opponents or rivals or even others when there is no self in the first place? How can there be anyone to blame when there is only one? Yeah, I mean that's
I'm
one.
just watching your face waiting for you to say something.
It's the contradictions again. I don't know. They kind of get me.
Well, it is what it is, dude. It's life,
But
right?
yeah, no, it's
It's
beautiful.
life.
And yeah, if you can feel into that, then how can you blame someone else for how you feel? I think that's kind of what comes up for me is like you know
What's a different
if,
word that we can use besides contradiction? Because it's not it's like it's not contradicting. It's just like again, like we're talking about different planes, right? We're
yeah.
talking about different levels of consciousness, let's just say. And
Hmm.
so from this plane, again, we've done an episode on this, right? Like from the eternal plane compared to the relative plane, it's a completely different thing, dude. Right?
Different
Um,
points, different. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
From yeah, different viewpoints, I guess for me.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, from the different viewpoints of that, we're all one or we're all separate. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I do like that. And what comes to mind reading that is the idea of giving others control over your own internal state. So like, yeah, blaming others for how you feel inside. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think like going back to I think it was like the first one. We're talking about like why or how, right? Like, how do I love everyone? Um, how do I love my critics? Well, I think this is another great way to do it, right? Is like there is no critic. It's just you. Like it's just a mirror of you saying things, and that's it. That's another really beautiful way to kind of move through life, right? And have that perspective and have that kind of in your back pocket, like, oh man, look at me, dude, going nuts right now, just criticizing the shit out of me. Like, man, that's interesting. And kind of like you said, you say a lot as well. It's just like no matter what the critic is saying, it can only affect me if I allow it to affect me. You know what I mean? It can only affect me if any part of what he's saying is something that I actually think is kind of possible and like in reality, right? It's kind of like a liar being called on his lies and being like, I'm not a liar, and like just, going crazy, right? It's like, well, I kind of think you are now, you know? It's kind of funny. But yeah, man, we all have the ability to love everyone. We all have the ability to not allow other people's words and actions to make us fall into a different vibration. We all have this ability. We all have this power. It's really up to us. And, these different things that we're talking about and that Shams is talking about are really great reality tools to use, right? How can there be opponents or rivals or even others when there is no self in the first place? How can there be anyone to blame when there is only one? Like, this is all true. This is all reality, right? And our ability to feel into this allows us to love everyone. If you cannot do this, if you cannot feel into that reality, it is pretty much impossible to love everyone at all times. And so it's really up to us. Rule 31, right? Yeah,
Yep.
Rule 31. If you want to strengthen your faith, you will need to soften inside. For your faith to be rock solid, your heart needs to be as soft as a feather. Through an illness, accident, loss, or fright, one way or another, we are all faced with incidents that teach us how to become less selfish and judgmental and more compassionate and generous. Yet some of us learn the lesson and manage to become milder, while some others end up becoming even harsher than before. If you want to strengthen your faith, you will need to soften inside. For your faith to be rock solid, your heart needs to be soft as a feather.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me a lot of the last one, the one we just talked about.
Yeah,
Is how is your response?
yeah.
From something that happens externally, like what is your, like, how are you going to respond?
It also brings up the idea of like, learning the lesson, right? And so like, yet some of us learn the lesson and become milder while some of us become even harsher. I want to touch on that, right? And so it's like, from my experience, what I've realized is like, it's not that some of us learn the lesson, like, oh, it happens once and some of us learn. It's like, eventually we're all going to learn the lesson, whether in this incarnation or the next incarnation. Like, eventually we're going to learn the lesson. And so that's a really beautiful thing to think about. But ultimately, it is up to us to when we learn the lesson, right? I feel as though like the moment I started to like look in the mirror and take full ownership, I started to learn lessons at a much more increased rate, accelerated rate than when I would blame others, pretend I was the victim, all these different things. And so, if you are someone that desires to become milder, more loving, soft within your heart, then I would encourage you to not look away from the mirror. I would encourage you to take full ownership and responsibility for all things, your actions, your emotions, everything, and see what that does for you. Ask the questions, right? Where was I coming from in this moment? What was I believing in this moment? And hold that up to the truth, right? And see things change and watch yourself become milder very, very quickly. Yeah,
Yeah, own your shit.
own it.
All right, 31. 32. Sorry.
32.
Nothing should stand between you and God. No imams, priests, rabbis, or any other custodians of moral or religious leadership. Not spiritual masters, and not even your faith. Believe in your values and your rules, but never lord them over others. If you keep breaking other people's hearts, whatever religious duty you perform is no good. Stay away from all sorts of idolatry, for they will blur your vision. Let God and only God be your guide. Learn the truth, my friend, but be careful not to make a fetish out of your truths.
I love this shit.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so well put, dude.
Yeah.
So well put, man. Yeah. I mean, identification is the one word that comes up to me straight away, right? It's just like we do it all the time, dude. I do it so much with things in my life, dude, you know? I did it a lot, I should say. It's like I feel like uh, you know, something that I can definitely relate to is like, as soon as I kind of like woke up, right, to like, to the world, the fact that I wasn't my thoughts and all this stuff, like, all I wanted to do was like push that on everyone, dude. You know what I mean? Shout it from the rooftops and bring everyone up to the rooftops and just be like, dude, you have to experience this. This is the coolest thing. And like, little did I know that like I had attached myself to this thing and the ego had just grabbed on, and I wasn't being accepting of other people, especially Kat, dude, at that moment, right? She had a really hard time during that moment because, dude, I was just like, dude, you need to read this, you need to listen to this, you need to hear this, like you need to feel this. And I've also, experienced that much through many different religious people, right? I think that's a big one. But it's the same experience, right? Like an individual experiences something that really affects their reality, right? In a really beautiful way. And all they want is for everyone else to experience that, right? But be very careful. Be very careful, because as soon as you start to notice judgment within your heart and you start to express that to others, you are no longer in that space that made you want to share that in the first place, right? And no matter what God you believe in, the way I feel personally is that judgment should not be a part of any religion. Personally, that's how I feel. We are not here to judge. We are here to love. And our ability to allow others to hear what we have to share is impossible if we judge them. No one wants to hear from someone that is judging them. And so can we move forward with our beliefs and not push them on other people, not look at others as though they are less than because they don't believe what we believe? And can we just love them and share our perspectives and share our beliefs in a really beautiful and loving way? And I think that's exactly what he's saying, right? So
Yeah, it's so much easier to do that, to just love people, than it is to try to push your beliefs on them. And I think that's very helpful for me,
yeah, big time, big time. And at the end of the day, dude, they're beliefs. So
yeah,
you know, yeah. But I really enjoyed how he worded that. And this is coming from someone with very deep beliefs, dude. Like a very clear understanding of what his beliefs are, what his God is, who his God is, and everything, dude. I read about him and all his journeys. Never once, dude, he would talk to so many different people with all different beliefs, and never once did he judge them, push them. No way. His God was their God, which is super interesting, man, to read about him. And like, no matter what God someone else believed in, the way he would approach it was their God was his God. There's only one God, right? And
yeah.
I
From
thought that was really
period,
cool. Huh?
too. Like for him to be from that time period and be able to, yeah, connect to that is very interesting, very cool.
Yeah. And it's interesting now, like as I say that out loud, how is everyone not on that train? Like, let's say, for example, you're Christian, Catholic, like, yeah, you're Christian, no matter what denomination. If you believe in the Christian God, and that is the only God, and then you have other people from different religions that believe in a God, and they just call it by a different name. If you really believe that there is only one God, then there's only one God. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of the way I think about it. But yeah, I never really thought about it that way. Um, yeah, interesting. I think because like there's names and there's names and there's books and stuff like that that people start to like create separation. It's like, oh, the God you're explaining is not the God that I'm explaining, and all of this craziness, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's super interesting. Um, anything else on that one?
Not for me.
Cool. Rule 33. While everyone in this world strives to get somewhere and become someone, only to leave it all behind after death, you aim for the supreme stage of nothingness. Live this life as light and empty as the number zero. We are no different from a pot. It is not the decorations outside, but the emptiness inside that holds us straight. Just like that, it is not what we aspire to achieve, but the consciousness of nothingness that keeps us going.
Hmm.
What comes up for you?
That one's a bit confusing. I mean, I guess the fact that the truth is that, we are not, we are what's beneath, that we are the soul.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of what comes up for me. The nothingness is kind of like the soul for me, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of how I interpret that. Um, and the consciousness of the nothingness or the soul is what keeps us going, rather than attaching to, like you said, the ego and all these things these labels we put on ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, as I hear that and read through that, what comes up for me is like the word achievement, the word success, the word accomplishment, right? Like these things that we say out loud within this physical world, and focus a lot on, right? Um, not that those words, again, those words are just words, but I think we use them a lot, right? Like, what have you achieved? How successful are you? And all these different things, right? And ultimately, like, does any of that shit even matter? Right? Like when it comes to you being on your deathbed, like he said, right? Only to leave it all behind after death. When you're on your deathbed, what are you actually going to care about? Like, what are the things that you are going to look back on? Right? And I mean, they've done many studies on this. When people on their deathbed, what do they think about? And it's not like anything that they've achieved. It's not the money, it's not the house, it's none of that. It is the experiences, it is the people, right? And so that's kind of what comes up for me, man, is like, can we continue to come back to the true self? I think the word nothingness for some people can kind of like sometimes confuse them. But when I think of nothingness, another way to think of that, and this kind of just came up for me, was I think of it two ways, because one thing that just came up for me is like our cells are 99% nothing. But obviously they're not nothing, something in there, right? And another way to think about it is like the void, or the universe is also like, you can refer to that as like the nothingness, because we can't see it, we can't touch it, we can't taste it, right? But there is something there. I mean, actually, there's everything there. Our whole reality is that, right? And so, can we come back to that space of realizing that even though we sense this world as physical and as a bed and as a car and as all these things, ultimately it's still nothing. And so, let's not get too attached to the outside world. Let's not get too attached to our achievements and our successes and all this bullshit. And let's kind of come back to what is important, and that's the oneness, the nothingness, or the interconnectedness
Mhm.
of all things.
Yeah, when you were when you were talking, I just what popped in my brain is back in school learning about chemistry and atoms, and like if you really break down like an atom, like with the proton and the neutron and the electron, um and most of it is, like you said, nothing. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like based on the mass and everything. Like it's kind of crazy how when you really break it down, when you really study, when we can study what we perceivably know right now.
Correct. It's nothing to us. We
Yeah,
can't perceive it, so it's nothing, but
yeah,
it's not nothing. It's definitely not nothing.
Yeah,
But yeah, again, we're so ignorant at times, like, oh, well, we can't sense it, so it must be nothing. It's
must
like,
be
okay.
nothing. Let's
All right, cool, dude.
go
Sure,
with
man.
that.
Yeah, let's go with that. It's nothing. Uh,
All right, 34. Submission does not mean being weak or passive. It leads to neither fatalism nor capitulation, just the opposite. The true power resides in submission of a power that comes within. Those who submit to the divine essence to the divine essence of life will live in unperturbed tranquility and peace, even the whole wide world goes through turbulence after turbulence.
dude, nice job with those words. There's some good ones in there.
Yeah, yeah. Like, threw me off. Fatalism nor capitulation. Just starting off strong.
It's a good one.
Um, I mean, I think the first thing that comes to mind after reading that is just like the like acceptance, um, submission. I mean, I think of as more acceptance instead of submission has like a weird connotation for me when I think of it. It's like almost accepting your fate or like accepting defeat is what I think of when I think of submission. But again, it's just my interpretation of that word.
I think of submission as like letting go.
Yeah,
You know what I
acceptance.
mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Now you say acceptance now. Yeah, yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. For sure. That makes sense.
Accepting reality
Um,
the way it is.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Also, like what comes up for me when it's like submission, like is like the realization of just like ultimate like again, and uh we need to be able to let go and realize like there are some things that I may have like some control over, but ultimately, dude, like a lot's happening without me doing it. Like my heart's beating, I'm breathing. Like a lot's going on, dude, without me fucking like doing anything, right? And so like the ability to like let go and not feel like I need to control everything, not feel like I am in control of everything, right? Like that's even possible. Um and have again like faith, which is huge. I think like they're go kind of go hand in hand, like the ability to let go. If you let go with no faith, fear arises straight away, right? And so I think like the ability to have faith is really important to your ability to submit and let go, and still feel very peaceful, very loving, very calm. Otherwise, you'll go through turbulence after turbulence, right?
Mm.
But I think it's one of the most important things. Another thing that comes up for me when it comes to submission is like the male, like men in general, right? This idea that like submitting is weakness, right? Like when it comes to, let's say you go out and someone, like wants to pick a fight with you, like, and you just like, yeah, okay, dude, and you just kind of like walk away and like, don't indulge in that fight. The egoic side of you, like especially when you're younger at school and stuff like that, right? You know what I mean? And like not
Yeah,
very mature. It's like, oh, dude, you're a pussy. You just walked away. And it's like, dude, like that is so crazy and like so I don't know, man. It's just so unaware and so like unaligned kind of thing, you know? But again, I think that's a real thing, right? Is like we need to realize that that is power. Like that is true power. Not being baited into bullshit, not being baited into doing something you don't truly desire to do. Not indulging in acts or experiences that are unloving because someone else is trying to super egoic and trying to take your power, trying to take your energy. I mean, for me, that's true power. Is being aware enough to be able to navigate those situations.
agreed. Yeah, well said.
Yeah. Rule 35. In this world, it is not similarities or regularities that take us a step forward, but blunt opposites. And all the opposites in the universe are present within each and every one of us. Therefore, the believer needs to meet the unbeliever residing within, and the non believer should get to know the silent faithful in him. Until the day one reaches the stage of insane Kamil, the perfect human being, faith is a gradual process and one that necessitates its seeming opposite, disbelief.
It's
Yeah, man.
interesting that that he believes in being able to reach that insane state. That's kind of what jumped out at me. The
Until the day one reaches the stage of the perfect human being.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'd love to ask him more about that. It's like, what do you mean by that? Do you mean that, is your belief that you will actually be like on this plane as like, the enlightened one, like Jesus or, like Buddha or something like that, which is what I think he's talking about, right? Like most religions and most texts like that explain, right? Or believe in, at least, right? They believe in this enlightened human being that is perfect. But yeah, what else kind of comes up for me is like, as soon as I read that first line, it was kind of like contrast, right? Um, that ultimately it is the opposites. It is the beautiful experience of hate that allows us to experience the beautiful experience of love, and so on and so forth. Um, I really enjoy like how he talks about like the believer needs to meet the unbeliever residing within, or the disbeliever, like yeah, the non-believer residing within. I mean, just not getting identified with anything, like being able to realize that we have many different parts. And just because I believe in this one thing, there is also something I don't believe in, right? And so if we can move that and take that into every situation, then we should never judge anyone for not believing in something because we also don't believe in something,
Exactly.
right? And so I think it's a super cool way to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, what you said about contrast is the kind of the first thing when I read that first line is where I thought of as well. Um, and yeah, just the ability to be able to learn from the opposite and not see it as bad or something that shouldn't exist.
Yeah. Rule 36. Is
Yep.
that you?
Is it? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
This world is erected upon the principle of reciprocity. Neither a drop of kindness nor a speck of evil will remain unreciprocated. For not the plots, deceptions, or tricks of other people. If somebody is setting a trap, remember, so is God. He is the biggest plotter. Not even a leaf stirs outside of God's knowledge. Simply and fully believe in that. Whatever God does, he does it beautifully.
I enjoy the term reciprocity.
I do too.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's something that like I didn't really like that word kind of came into my life like kind of later on in life, like in my late 20s. I hadn't really like obviously I'd heard the word reciprocate and stuff like that, but the word reciprocity I hadn't really like heard before. And I remember the first time I heard it and I looked up the definition of it and stuff like that. I was like, "Oh, I really like that." Um, I think again like the world is erected upon the principle of reciprocity, kind of like the law of attraction in a way. um, but yeah, just a different way to say it, I feel like. And can we be can we be reciprocity? Can we, step forward and step into this world and be the physical manifestation of reciprocity? I think it's a beautiful way to think about it.
Yeah, the way he talks about God, and it's interesting, and in a lot of religions they talk about him like that. He's like he's all knowing, he's all, it just makes me it kind of deepens my belief that it's the same thing as the universe. It's like all knowing and all. It's like it is kind of the universe, right? It is everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just a different way of saying the same thing.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's why I kind of started this podcast. Kind of expressing that to people. It's like, dude, the word God. I think for so many of us, again, the word's kind of tainted in a way. It makes us think of one thing straight away.
Mhm.
This like singular thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, again, I think it's a word that has been hijacked and used by many different religions to express a certain thing or person or entity, let's say. And ultimately, dude, if people can say the same word to mean so many different things, then yeah, why can't it mean universe? Why can't it mean so many other things, right? And so whatever it means to you, whatever it means to you, man. You
I
know?
remember growing up in the church and that whole concept of like the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit was like always so difficult for me as a kid to wrap my brain around. But as I've grown and you know spoken to having these conversations and everything, it just makes so much more sense to the whole idea of like Holy Spirit is basically the universe. It's everything, all encompassing. It is everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, kind of like he's talking about in this, dude. I think it's cool, bro. I really enjoy the fact that we have so many different belief systems. I really enjoy the fact that, we have the ability to choose, what we think serves us the most. Um, the only thing I'll say is the exact same thing he said. It's like, can we move forward with our beliefs with non-judgment and love and acceptance of other people's beliefs and other people's reality, right? Because it doesn't have to be that way, right? We can all believe different things and still like love one another, right? And learn from one another, dude. Which is super cool. So, um, 37. God is a meticulous clockmaker, so precise in his order that everything on earth happens in its own time, neither a minute late nor a minute early. And for everyone without exception, the clock works accurately. For each, there is a time to love and a time to die. That's really cool. I enjoy that last line. So good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, it's kind of different perspective than the rule that we read that kind of put you in control and said, it's the whole idea of destiny, right?
Yeah.
The idea of you have a choice and a path, and this one kind of says that there is a plan, that at least at face value. Um, but yeah, I mean, everything happens for a reason, whether that's to teach you something or to guide you somewhere. Um, Kind of up to you how you view it.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what comes up for me as I read this is just like, yeah, everything is happening as it's supposed to happen in this moment, as it's supposed to happen in this moment. Um, for each, there is a time to love and a time to die. It's so cool. I mean, when I read that last line, all I think about is that, the time to love is now, like, is this life that we have, this physical incarnation that we have. This is the time to love, right? And then we will die. And so, can we do our best to love as much as possible within this experience? So,
All right, number 38.
we're getting there, dude.
Yes, sir. Three more. It is never too late to ask yourself, am I ready to change the life I'm living? Am I ready to change within? Even if a single day in your life is the same as the day before, it surely is a pity. At every moment and with each new breath, one should be renewed and renewed again. There's only one way to be born into a new life, to die before death. Die before death. I like that term, that phrase. We did that episode on death, and
Hmm.
um, I
We
think,
referenced Sufis
yeah,
in
yeah,
that
that's right.
episode. Yep.
Yep. Um, and yeah, to die before you die is going to give you so much freedom, so much. I mean, so many people that's their ultimate fear is death, and um, yeah, if you really go down that road, it's interesting to play that game. To ask yourself like, okay, well, what if this happens? Well, what if this happens? What if this
Yeah.
happens? Are you gonna die? Like,
Yeah. Or just like the realization that it's like I could die at any moment. And if that's true, how am I going to live my life? You
mhm.
know, if I go back into the rule about time and that there is no time, there is no future, there is no past, right? And so it's like, all right, like knowing that and knowing that the fact that I could die in any present moment, how do I really desire to live? Like, stop assuming that there's going to be a future, because there isn't a future,
Mhm.
right? And so how am I going to live? And that's kind of what I think about when I think about like die before you die, is like really, really like not only like have an ego death, but also like embody the reality that you're already dead in a way, kind of thing, right? So it's like, look, you're going to die at any moment and you don't know the moment you're going to die. And so it's like, why are you wasting any moment doing something you don't want to be doing? Right. I also really enjoy like how he started this. Like, am I ready to change the life I'm living? Am I ready to change within? I think it's so easy for our minds to downplay the like the power of like how this moment can change your life forever. And like we've all experienced it, which is crazy. Like we've all experienced a moment change our life, right? No matter what that moment was. And so it's like, it's interesting though how easily our mind can trick us again, as if like it's not like, oh, I can't change. I've been doing this for so long. I'm just this person now. And like we use this language that is so not true, right? Like I'm this type of person or I'm that type of person and whatever it is, it's like, dude, you can change whenever you want to change, right?
Mhm.
Whether it's like you've been a smoker for 20 years and then you stop. That happens all the time, dude. And so it's like you've gone from this belief of I am a smoker to now I don't smoke anymore. And that's just a simple example.
Yeah.
But it's like,
I always
yeah,
told myself I was afraid of heights, and now I climb trees to make money.
there you go. Right. And so it's just like, dude, like if you're ready to change, you'll change. It's just that simple. If you really want to change, you'll change. And again, not an easy thing for people to hear because like, I really want to change, but I can't. It's like, you obviously don't really want to change that much. You'd rather keep doing what you're doing. You feel more safe doing what you're doing. And so you keep doing what you're doing because again, it is scary sometimes to do something new. I get it. But if you really want to do it, you'll do it, man. So yeah, I think it's a really, really important question to continue to ask yourself and just know within yourself that you can change if you really want to. Right. So,
All right. Can you hear the dogs going nuts in the background?
not really. It's not that loud. I mean, sometimes I hear them bark here and there, but it ain't a thing, dude. Keep,
It's because I'm here by myself and they're kind of losing it. But anyway,
got you. It ain't a
we'll
thing.
wrap up and then
No, you
I'll
good.
get them taken care
No worries.
of. All right. Is it? I think you're up now. Yeah.
39. 39. Um, while the part change, the whole always remains the same. Okay, while the parts change, the whole always remains the same. For every thief who departs this world, a new one is born, and every decent person who passes away is replaced by a new one. In this way, not only does nothing remain the same, but also nothing ever really changes. For every Sufi who dies, another is born somewhere. What comes up for me, dude, as I read this is like this idea of like world peace. It's not that I don't think like we should strive for world peace, because I definitely think we should. But at the same time, there are always going to be people that do not want world peace, right? And so again, it's not something that I'm saying that's not possible and all this different shit. Like again, that is how I step forward in my life. I want to love everyone. I want peace in this world. I want all of that stuff. But this is the reality that comes up, right? Is just realizing that like regardless, like there's always going to be someone in an incarnation that doesn't want peace. They do not, man. They can't get it. They can't understand it. That is not where they're coming from. And so it's important that we're like okay with what's happening on some level, right? What I mean by that is it's not that we should ultimately be like, oh, this is okay. I do not like, I'm going to join them. Or I think that what is happening is righteous or aligned or loving. It's not what I'm saying. Obviously, when crazy shit is going down, it is not loving. It is not aligned. It is not okay. But from a, what's the word I'm looking for? From what's, not from relative, but from the eternal plane. From the eternal plane, what is happening, right? And if there is a God, or if the universe is all knowing, kind of like we've been talking about this entire thing, then obviously what is happening is supposed to be happening. It's supposed to be happening. And so on some level, we need to be able to not resist that. And when I say not resist that, that doesn't mean that we're not looking to make things more loving and more aligned. No, we are. But we need to accept that that is a part of life. It's a part of life. It's here. It's reality, right? And so there are people that steal. There are thieves. There are murderers. There are all of these people. They're out there. They're doing their thing. And it's not that we have to agree with them or encourage them or whatever it is. No, we don't have to tolerate them. No, we don't. But we have to understand that that is a part of this reality, right? And I mean, have you ever experienced a reality where there aren't people being killed?
Not.
I've never experienced that reality either, dude. And so, like, it's not to say that, oh, we should just be okay with it. No, we shouldn't be okay with it. But it is an everlasting part of reality. We've never experienced a reality without it, right? And so I think that's kind of like what comes up for me when I read this is, and that's pretty much exactly what he's saying, right? Is just that ultimately, no matter what we do and how we express ourselves and how much love we pull out, there's always going to be people that aren't going to be able to receive our love. There's always going to be people that are angry, frustrated, desire to hurt other people, so on and so forth. But that shouldn't change our mission. That shouldn't change our expression. And that shouldn't allow us to feel this like feeling of like defeat, like, oh my God, it's never going to be okay. No, like it is okay now. Everything is okay now, right? Yeah. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Yeah. It's kind of when you were talking, just made me think of the only thing that matters is your intention. I mean, you can't always predict or, be attached to how it's received. But if you can come into every situation with that intention of, I want to lead with my heart, I want to lead with love, then that's all you can do.
It's all you can do, dude. And what everyone else is doing is what everyone else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, our mission doesn't change regardless of what everyone else is doing. We still come back to the heart. We still express that and we still shine our light, right? So, and we still have compassion and grace for those people.
Yep.
So,
Number 40.
Number 40.
All right, here we go.
Go for it, dude.
A life without love is of no account. Don't ask yourself what kind of love you should seek, spiritual or material, divine or mundane, Eastern or Western. Divisions only lead to more divisions. Love has no labels, no definitions. It is what is, pure and simple. Love is the water of life, and a lover is a soul of fire. The universe turns differently when fire loves water. The analogies are just, yeah, they just
sick, dude. Sick, dude. The universe turns differently when fire loves water. Let's fucking go, dude. Wow.
Super cool.
Wow.
I mean, it sums it up really, really beautiful. It sums it up all the rules and the fact that they're the 40 rules of love. I mean, yeah, it's what I think pretty much every person can come back to, even people that are really attached to their religion. I think that when they really feel into love, whatever that feeling is, it's not like we've talked about, not an action, not a thing, but the feeling really is kind of what gives us fuel as humans.
Yeah, I think like it's interesting like how so many people allow their beliefs to guide their ability to love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, a perfect example, I'll just dumb it down based on what he just said, right? The universe turns differently when fire loves water. If I believe in fire, that means that I can't love water. Like, it's so crazy. Like, we should be able to like step back and separate those two things. I should be able to believe in fire and still love water, And I think a lot of people struggle to do that because they're so identified with their beliefs. Regardless of whether it's religion, whatever the fuck it is, dude, doesn't matter, man. Like race, sex, all this bullshit. All of these like identities that we like attach to, that now we attach our ability to accept, judge, and love and all these things to these things. Like, dude, they're completely separate, bro. Like, completely. Like, you have your world that you believe in. Cool. So does someone else, right? And so, like, yeah, the universe turns differently when fire loves water. I think that's the most beautiful thing that I've heard in a very long time. Like, ultimately, on the eternal level, we are all one. So we are all, again, fire and water is one anyway. But again, in this reality, our senses give us the illusion that I'm Italian and you're American and all this bullshit, right? And so our ability to be able to, even within that reality, even within that sense, I'm seeing someone who seems separate to me. Even from that place, I shouldn't have to go to the like eternal perspective in order to love Dan. I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to do that in this reality, realizing that I am fire, he is water. I mean, I love you, kind of thing, right? And so, I mean, that's what comes up for me, man. It's just like, fuck, dude, drop the bullshit and let's just love, you know? Like, fuck, pure and simple, dude.
Divisions only lead to more divisions. I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Fuck, dude.
it's a great one to wrap it up with. And yeah, I mean, I think that's yeah, great one to end on.
Yeah. Love has no labels, guys. That's simple, dude. Love has no labels. And if you have labels on your love, then it's not love. All right. And so you're kidding yourself. And so love has no labels, guys. Dan, thank you. Fucking 40 rules, man. 3 episodes. Sick.
Yeah,
That was cool. That was fun.
that was fun. Yeah. First multi-part podcast. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely enjoyed it. Some really cool material.
Yeah. Agreed. Thank you, Shams, for just being a beast and dropping that wisdom for us. And for being such a beautiful guide and teacher for us all. Thanks for writing those rules and doing your thing, man. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you, Dan, and see you guys again soon.
Thank you, man.